All right. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of what I'm calling the Vinyl Frontier. The show where we dig through the crates to unearth the legendary, the obscure, and at times, the downright bizarre. Today we're taking a very special trip to a place where angels fear to tread and demons, well, they probably just want to shred. We're talking about Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. Now, for those of you who just gasped and said, Black Sabbath without Ozzy, is that even legal? Settle down, because this album is a certified banger. It's a tale of two eras, a phoenix rising from the ashes, and of a band that proved that you can teach an old Sabbath new tricks, especially if those tricks involve a pint-sized vocal powerhouse named Ronnie James Dio. Now let's set the scene. It's the late 70s, disco is king, and punk is spitting, and Black Sabbath, well, they're a little bit adrift, lost at sea. Ozzy Osbourne, after years of legendary rock and roll antics and some truly groundbreaking albums, had parted ways with the band, and at the time, nobody knew what was next for him. There were whispers, there were rumors, and probably a few confused headbangers wondering if this was the end of the world as they knew it. However, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward weren't ready to hang up their amps just yet. They just needed a new voice, a new spark. Someone who could fill the rather large and oftentimes shirtless shoes of Ozzy Osbourne. And then, as if by divine intervention, or perhaps a very loud drum solo, Ronnie Dio joined the band and never looked back. Dio, fresh off his vocal run with Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, brought with him not just an unbelievably powerful voice, but also a flair for fantasy lyrics, a love for the dramatic, and an uncanny ability to turn a simple metaphor into an epic saga. Gone were some of the more groundbreaking bluesy themes. In came dragons, rainbows, and existential dread, but like really cool existential dread. The recording sessions themselves were apparently a mix of energy and, well, being Black Sabbath. Tony Iommi, ever the riff master, was laying down some of his most iconic work. Geezer's bass lines were a thunderous menagerie of sound. And Bill Ward, despite some personal struggles, was still a powerhouse behind the kit. One of my favorite stories from this period involving the writing process was Dio, of course, being a master of fitting his lyrics to riffs. Apparently, Tony was just noodling around with his guitar, and Dio immediately started humming melodies and coming up with lyrical ideas on the spot, one of which being Children of the Sea. It was like they were musical soulmates, separated by a few decades and a lot of denim. The album's title track, Heaven and Hell, is a perfect example of this synergy. That iconic riff, Dio's soaring vocals, and those incredibly poignant lyrics about the duality of good and evil. It's truly a masterpiece. And let's not forget the album opener, Neon Nights. It just hits you like a medieval armored tank made of pure metal. Heaven and Hell was released in April of 1980, and the response was, well, let's just say it shut up a lot of doubters. It was a massive commercial and critical success, breathing new life into a band that many had already written off. And it proved that Sabbath was more than just one vocalist. It's truly a force of nature, an ever-evolving beast of heavy metal. This album wasn't just a comeback, it was a redefinition. It kept Sabbath relevant in a changing musical landscape, and it introduced a whole new generation to their dark and heavy sound. It solidified Dio's place as a vocal legend and showed the world that even after a decade, Sabbath could still surprise, shock, and utterly blow you away. So if you've never given Heaven and Hell a listen because of the whole no Ozzy thing, I urge you, do yourself a favor, pop it on, turn it up, and prepare for a journey into the realms of epic heavy metal. You might just find yourself wondering why you ever doubted the power of the mighty Sabbath to begin with, no matter who's at the mic. And with a number of hits on this that were staples of the live show for years, you just can't go wrong with this one. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. What's your favorite track from the album? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more rock and roll adventures. And join me next time on the Vinyl Frontier. As always, keep spinning those records and stay heavy.